From Australia, this is VK1WIA and the weekly WIA amateur radio news service on RF, internet streaming and text at wia.org.au.
2020, February 9, VK National News broadcast on VK1WIA. I'm Graham, VK4Baker, and news from the Anzac front. Radio amateurs, remember, AM and CW on Anzac Day, April 25. Yes, the traditional AM and CW event organised by Mike Banjo Patterson, VK4MIK, and the Tablelands Radio Group of Far North Queensland will again take to the air for the 9th year. Now remember, this is not a contest. It instead honours those modes used by service personnel in earlier wars. The concept basically asks us to consider changing modes on Anzac Day nets as an honour and amateur radio salute to those who served or are serving. The annual event also involves ex-military sites and related museums. Gavin, VK4 Zulu told us that northern AM operations do centre around 7125 kHz. Australia's own amateur radio handbook, now locally available. Author Peter Parker, VK3WIA, says it's clear that Australians wanted a paperback version that was available locally at a good price. For the first time in years, Australia's 14,000 radio amateurs can easily buy a hard copy handbook written for local conditions. JCar carry the book, or you can order it via jcar.com.au. The Australian Ham Radio Handbook shows how you can become a radio amateur, set up a station and start making contacts. It's a practical follow-on from the WIA's own foundation manual with information useful for new, established and returning hams. It's also up-to-date with content reflecting last year's revised amateur radio licence conditions. This is Peter's 7th book on amateur radio topics. He is also a long-time contributor to the WIA's amateur radio magazine and received a Technical Excellence Award in 2018. QRM Guru was released in March 2019 and has evolved to become a useful resource to help radio amateurs better understand and eliminate RFI QRM. If you're an F-booker, QRM Guru now has a Facebook page. Search for QRM Guru on Facebook or click the Facebook link on qrm.guru. QRM Guru was launched at Perth Tech in March last year. And as a blatant plug here, Perth Tech is on again in 2020, May 2. Now, do you have a deep knowledge or professional experience with electrical engineering and or RF technologies? If so, and you're a willing helper, contact them as they're looking for people to assist in investigating and developing strategies to address new RFI generating technologies. Still to come, VK7 FREQ Danny and our AGM, a word again from WIA Director Mike on the future of amateur radio poll, and discussion point with Wide Bay's one and only VK4 ZPP.
Hello, I'm Jeff Emery, VK4 ZPP, and I've been thinking. When we look around at the posts on websites, video sharing and social media, apart from a few exceptions, the majority of people enjoying this hobby appear to be from a couple of generations ago. In an era when the terms STEM and STEAM have been bandied around, it still seems that projecting activities to the primary and secondary school people has not really been addressed. In this part of Region 3, there seems no real intent at providing more than a perfunctory introduction to STEM subjects from outside the education system. Many years ago, even in the time of the novice licence holders, the VK2 division of the WIA ran a very successful youth education scheme, which had the support of the State Department of Education. No doubt, there are people listening to news broadcasts now who got their interest and mentoring via that scheme. Surely our radio clubs haven't just become the resource of middle-aged and older? Perhaps later in the year, when the new WIA board is settled, one portfolio could be re-established for promoting STEM by way of amateur radio. From out here where I sit, it would be good to see the board once again having directors taking responsibility for various areas in a way that members and clubs could relate to. It may be reinventing the wheel, but it was a scheme that seemed to have good success in previous years. I'm Jeff Emery, and that's what I think. How about you?
Hi everyone, this is Mike, VK1WIA, a director of the WIA board. I'm sure you will all remember that we've been undertaking setting up a polling mechanism to cover any issues we believe need addressing. As a result of a request from ACMA to conduct an appropriate survey of licensed amateurs on the question of 7-character call signs, we're pleased to announce that the poll has now been produced and is ready for immediate release. Once again, we want to clarify that this poll is open to all licensed amateurs, whether or not they are members of the WIA. WIA members are automatically registered, but any non-WIA amateurs can register at the special address poll.wia.org.au. Each amateur can vote only once. The poll will remain open for several weeks, and at the closing of the poll results will be made available for public scrutiny and results forwarded to ACMA. This polling mechanism will be used for future issues surrounding the service as deemed appropriate. This has been Mike, VK1WIA, on behalf of the board.
Hello from Danny, VK7 FREQ and the WIA Organising Committee. We are thrilled to announce that we have Professor Elizabeth Lean as our 2020 WIA Annual Conference Dinner keynote speaker. Professor Lean is studying the passion for literature that the hostile continent of Antarctica evoked, and the power in turn of literature to influence what we think and feel about Antarctica. Professor Lean has a Bachelor of Science in Theoretical and Mathematical Physics, a Bachelor of Arts in English Literature, both from the University of Adelaide, a Master of Studies in Research Methods, and a PhD in English and English Literature from Oxford University, Cambridge. By combining her love of science with her passion for literature, Professor Lean has found a rich and largely untapped resource in Antarctica for the humanities to embrace. We look forward to hearing from Professor Lean at the conference. A reminder that you are running out of time to take advantage of the discounts for accommodation and fares if you're thinking of coming to the conference on the Spirit of Tasmania ferry. If you are bringing your caravan or motorhome, then space needs to be booked ASAP, or you may miss out on your preferred dates. These discounts are available for 2 weeks prior and 2 weeks after the conference. If you're bringing your caravan or motorhome, then space needs to be booked ASAP, or you may miss out on your preferred dates. These discounts are available for 2 weeks prior and 2 weeks after the conference. So if you've ever thought about touring Tasmania, this is your chance to do so at a great price. And you get a fantastic conference as well. A reminder that discounted room rates are still available from the conference venue, Best Western Motels. Just mention the WIA conference when booking. A reminder that discounted room rates are still available from the conference venue, Best Western Motels. Just mention the WIA conference when booking. We look forward to welcoming you here in Hobart. For the WIA National News, this is Danny, VK7 FREQ.
From Australia, this is VK1WIA and the weekly WIA amateur radio news service on RF, internet streaming and text at wia.org.au.
International news with thanks to IARU, RSGB, SARL, Southgate Amateur Radio Club, ARRL, RAC, NZART, Amateur Radio Newsline, and the worldwide sources of the WIA. I'm Jason, VK2LAW. We start this week with news from Rotuma. De-expeditioner responds to hams who acknowledged son's death. A grieving father who shared his gratitude with the amateur radio community, which responded with warmth, sympathy and a lot of heart following his son's drowning during the Rotuma D expedition. Following his return to Fiji, Antoine 3 Delta 2 Alpha Golf posted the message on his QRZ.com page as an open letter on DX World to hams everywhere. Quote, "To know that I have so many genuine friends all over the world is a really humbling experience and a wonderful tribute to the solidarity of our great hobby in times of crisis. Whilst the pain of the loss of my dear little boy is with me every moment at this time, the words and gestures of comfort and support will never be forgotten." End quote. News from Turkey. When that earthquake rattled Turkey recently, local hams played an important role. Buildings collapsed, people ran for cover, and rescue efforts got underway following the earthquake, even as aftershocks began to strike eastern Turkey. Although no foreign assistance was immediately called in to aid the disaster, hams made sure communications were not hampered. According to Aziz Sasa, Tango Alpha 1 Echo, who is involved as a telecommunications service group solution partner in the National Emergency Response Plan, Aziz said members conducted tactical communication in the affected area and supported the Ministry of Health. They installed a repeater on one of the mountaintops and got it operational. Aziz noted that there was no need at the time for any immediate deployment from Region 1 of the International Amateur Radio Union. Meanwhile, the quake was felt in a very different way in parts of North America, where hams were just about to check into a popular net, the noontime net, in North America on 7.2835 MHz. They had their own unofficial indicator that something had gone very wrong somewhere. The quake created an attenuation of the amateur bands disrupting the 40-metre net. Researchers have been studying the impact quakes have on propagation, with evidence growing that there may be ways to detect impending earthquakes by reviewing changes in the ionosphere. One NASA physicist, quoted in an earthmagazine.org article, said that in the time preceding a quake, stresses on rocks located along faults were known to release positive ions into the atmosphere. Those ions rise, causing anomalies in the ionosphere. To Belgium now, news on Brexit. UBA issues statement regarding CEPT and EU. Due to an apparent confusion among Belgian radio operators, the National Amateur Radio Society, UBA, have had to issue a statement pointing out the difference between CEPT and the EU. The statement says there is no direct link between CEPT and the EU. Belgian radio operators holding HAREC licences can continue operating as normal for up to 3 months when visiting the United Kingdom and Crown dependencies. For longer visits, a UK licence can be applied for based on the Belgian HAREC exam certificate. In the Arctic, sand dune-shaped auroras discovered in the Arctic. It looks so much like a desert sand dune that investigators have nicknamed it the Dunes. A newspaper published in the research journal AGU Advances describes the new form and the unexpected physics behind it. Visit the spaceweather.com link in today's text edition for the full story. We wrap up international news this week with a story from the Atlantic Ocean. On the 30th of January, AMSAT Argentina deployed a WSPR APRS drifting buoy on the South Atlantic seas. The WSPR beacon is running 900 milliwatts on 14095.6 kHz with the call sign Lima Uniform 7 Alpha Alpha. The APRS beacon, call sign Lima Uniform 7 Alpha Alpha-11, was initially on Argentina's APRS frequency, but by now should be on 145.825 MHz so that it can be digipeated by amateur packet radio satellites. Release was 100 kilometres offshore Mar del Plata coast, seeking east-aiming currents and winds. The objective is to track sea currents and conduct HF, VHF and satellite ultra-QRP propagation tests. For WIA National News, in Sydney I'm Jason, VK2LAW.
News, talk and radio sport. Here with VK1WIA.
Ham Radio Operational News is the contact sport. I'm Felix, VK4FUQ. February 16-17, ARL's International DXCW Contest. CQ Worldwide SSB Contest, February 22-23. March 2 and 3, International DX Phone Contest sponsored by the ARL. WIA John Mull Field Day 2020, weekend of 21-22 March from UTC 0100 hours on the Saturday to 0059 hours on the Sunday 22nd. March 28-29, the CQ Worldwide WPX Contest for amateurs worldwide to contact as many amateurs and prefixes as possible during the contest using SSB. The date for the next Harrier Sprint will be Saturday, May 2nd, 2020, 10 hours to 11:46 UTC. May 30-31, the CQ Worldwide WPX contest for amateurs worldwide to contact as many amateurs and prefixes as possible during the contest using CW. The VK Shires the June long weekend, which is a weekend prior to the second Monday of June this year, making June 6 and 7 in 2020. IAA HF World Championship July 13-14. Trans-Tasman Low Band Contest. Next contest 17 July 2020, and has the aim of encouraging low band activity between VK and ZL on 160, 80 and 40 metres, using SSB, CW and RD or PSK. RD or Remembrance Day Contest will be August 15-16. Oceania Contest. Boys from 0800 hours UTC Saturday October 3 to 0800 hours UTC Sunday October 4. CW from 0800 hours UTC Saturday October 10 to 0800 hours UTC Sunday October 11. CQ Worldwide DXSSB October 24-25. CQ Worldwide DXCW November 28-29. December 6 to 8 160 metres worldwide. December 14 to 15 10 metre worldwide. Ted Powell Memorial DX Challenge. 4 award periods, each of 3 months starting in January of each calendar year, and 2 categories in the contest: Most Wanted and Top 5. Top 5, you try and work the 5 most wanted DXCC entities, and the most wanted, you work the most wanted DXCC entity. The DX entities in play are those most wanted during the 3-month windows. Just ahead of the DX window this week, 6 weeks to go till a very important contest.
Good morning, this is Dennis Johnston, VK1WIA, Contest Manager for the John Moyle Memorial Field Day 2020. This is an early reminder that the contest will be held from midnight on Saturday the 21st of March UTC to midnight on Sunday the 22nd of March 2020. Unfortunately, I have to make an apology to the competitors in last year's contest that the results were not published in AR magazine. Further, the rules for this year's contest have not been published either. Last year, glitches in the AR system prevented them from being published. However, there is a glimmer of hope in that I had taken the precaution to include on the WIA members contest John Moyle page on the WIA website the PDF of last year's result and also a PDF of the 2020 rules for you to download. I will continue to keep the web page right up to date. Next week I will discuss the effects of the devastating fires and the current floods on the contest. The largest field day contest in Australia, where more than 1,200 licensed amateurs take part each year and almost 200 amateurs devote their time and effort to submit a log. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Dennis. Now, members of the Italian de-expedition team on Zanzibar Island until the 18th of February are using the call sign 5I5TT on CW, SSB and RITI on FT4 and FT8. The call sign will be 5I4ZZ. The code reference for Zanzibar is AF032. Bob, W0YBS is active on K Corker Island, off the coast of Belize, till the 25th of February on CW, FT8, RITI and possibly some SSB on 8 to 10 metres. IOTA reference is NA073. QSLs go via the home call W0YBS. Mateo is visiting Ghana off February till the 16th and has reactivated his 9G5GS call sign on 160 to 20 metres using mainly FT8 and SSB. QSLs go via his home call IZ4YGS. Members of the F6 KIP Radio Club are operating a Z44CC from Bethlehem in Palestine until February 17 on 160 to 10 metres on CW, SSB, RITI, PSK, FT4 and FT8. For VK1WIA National News, I'm Felix, VK4FUQ Inningham.
From Australia, this is VK1WIA and the weekly WIA amateur radio news service on RF, internet streaming and text at wia.org.au.
Hi, I'm Bruce, VK3FFF from sunny Bendigo. Worldwide Special Interest Group News. Today, we'll be looking at RABC, a 6-foot-long QSL card, global radio, how you could maybe get some ZL VHF DX this weekend. Cole, VK3GTV, joins us with a year-long celebration of SDR. But first, Worldwide Special Interest Groups, females in radio.
Hi, this is Andrew, VK1WIA, with some exciting news about solo sailor Jean Socrates VE0JS. Jean completed a solo unassisted circumnavigation of the world on the 7th of September last year aboard Narita. This voyage took 11 months, which was 4 months longer than expected due to some extreme challenges. Boy, she got a story to tell. She now holds the record of being the oldest female to complete this epic feat. Jean was very giving of her time to amateur radio operators, and I was one of the lucky ones. Jean will be travelling around Australia for 4 months in a motorhome departing Sydney in mid-February, en route to Adelaide, where she'll be giving a presentation about her voyage to the Royal South Australian Yacht Squadron. So, I encourage all amateur radio operators to consider attending this event at 7:30pm on Friday the 27th of March. The cost is $25 per head and meals are available prior. Bookings essential on 08 8341 8600, or further details contact me vk5mas@wia.org.au 73. For the WIA National News, this is Andrew Smelt, VK5MAS.
Thanks, Andrew. Now to worldwide special interest groups and internet, the hams domain. Want something different to listen to on your phone, tablet, or even computer? You can listen to live radio stations from around the globe by rotating the globe. Just Google radio.garden and explore live radio by rotating the globe. Worldwide special interest groups, IOTA. A 6-foot-long QSL card? Well, it's just about needed to fit this call on from the Micronesia special event, a 10-character call. Haru will be island hopping using the special event call sign V6TOPG 2020 from several islands in Micronesia between June 1st and the end of September. His activity is to commemorate the Tokyo Olympic and Paralympic Games 2020, hence the suffix TOPG 2020. Haru will activate islands in Micronesia, Pohnpei, Chuuk, Yap and Kosrae on 40 through 6 metres using CW, SSB, RTTY and FT8. QSL via JA1XGI. Worldwide special interest groups, Rescue Radio. The ABC has worked on close to 900 emergency broadcasting events in just over 7 months. Praise and congratulations, if that's the right word in such a terrible year, to everyone at ABC Radio who have provided up-to-the-minute information during the height of all the different events and the fire crisis as a whole. A lot of community radio stations and regional commercial stations also worked non-stop in their local areas, providing much-needed information, organising and supporting bushfire fundraising. But that's another story. The latest figures from the New South Wales Rural Fire Service show that 2,400 homes have been destroyed, with 10,000 other buildings impacted. The perimeter of the burnt area, when added together, is over 26,000 kilometres. That's more distance than the entire Australian coastline. Read more on both links in the text edition. Special Interest Groups, SDR. Year-long event celebrates the dawn of SDR. Col, VK3 GTR.
For most of 2020, HAMS will be marking the anniversary of a groundbreaking development more than 3 decades ago. What began in a lecture given in 1985 by Ulrich Roeder, DJ2LR/N1UL, has since transformed much of the amateur radio landscape. His talk came at the dawn of digital signal processing via software-defined radio, or SDR. SDR is now considered the standard when it comes to generating or decoding radio signals, and Ulrich Roeder is considered a pioneer. Special event station DL35 SDR, which began activity in January, is marking the 35 years since he delivered his lecture in London at a conference on HF communications. The special event station will be on the air throughout much of the year, operating from the Greater Munich area, where Ulrich's family business, the test equipment company Roeder & Schwarz, is based.
Special interest groups, VHF and above, the plumber's delight. In New Zealand this weekend, it's their VHF DX weekend, a great time for those of us in the parent company to snag a ZL or two. On February 8th and 9th, the VHF DX weekend contest will be on, and the NZ Art have encouraged locals to get out and operate from either home station or find a high hill to work from. The operating periods are 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. on the Saturday and 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the Sunday, New Zealand local time. Mainly operation is on SSB, but some also listen on FM for those who may not have multi-mode rigs. Antenna polarisation is normally horizontal, but that doesn't mean you can't try with the vertical. You will probably hear someone. I'm Bruce, VK3FFF.
This is VK1WIA. All points of contacts from today's news stories are to be found in print when you read the web editions, www.wia.org.au.
Hi, this is Ed, DD5LP, raffle prizes. I told you they'd be good. First prize is an IC7300, second an ID51A D-Star HT, and third prize an RT82 GPS DMR HT. Not only that, there will also be a lucky door prize of a signed copy of the Australian Ham Radio Handbook from Peter, VK1WIA. I also promise you an update on what is happening on the lectures. Well, we've overflowed the upstairs room and now we'll be using a ground floor lecture room for all the extra presentations. One of these will be a live telecast into the field day from Peter Parker, VK1WIA. Where allowed by the lecturers, we will be videoing the presentations for publication a few weeks after the event, giving you a chance to relive the lecture from home and note down that important information that you forgot to note down at Wyong. This was a very successful action last year with 1,800 views of the videos via the web. This is also a great solution for the situation where there are two lectures that you would have liked to have attended but were on at the same time. So watch one live and watch the recording of the one you couldn't get to from home later. We are currently rebalancing the lectures across the two rooms and trying to avoid conflicts between lectures in the two rooms, and I will have the final list for you in next week's piece here on VK1WIA, or you can also check the Field Day website for updates at fieldday.org.au. Preparation for the fox hunts on Saturday the 22nd are progressing well, and this promises to be an enjoyable event. If you filled in an expression of interest form on the website, can I ask you to please go back and now fill in the entry form for the day? There will be full rules posted later, but one thing we can ask now is that you wear appropriate clothing. Not only good sturdy shoes, especially for the on-foot fox hunt, but also protection against sunshine or rain. Not that we're expecting rain particularly. And bring your smiles. This is sure to be a real hoot. The Wyong Field Day takes place from 8:30 a.m. on Sunday, 23rd of February at Wyong Racecourse, an hour north of Sydney in New South Wales, Australia. The fox hunts and Field Day meal on Saturday the 22nd. For the Central Coast ARC, this was Ed, VK2JI.
The 2020 social scene continues, and way up north from Wyong is Gladstone, and that club is holding a Tannum Sands Gathering March 14. VK7 Meet the Voice event, Ross Recreation Centre, Sunday, March 22. VK4 Redfest 2020, the 18th of April, St Michael's College, the Old Torble Point Road from 8 a.m. VK6 Perth Tech, May 2 at Bassendean. VK, the big one, the WIA Annual Conference in Hobart, May 8 to 10. VK4, it's Chark Theresa Creek Campout, Friday the 29th till Sunday the 31st of May. In VK5, it's the South East Radio Group's annual convention and the Australian Fox Hunting Championships, June 6 to 8. VK4, a couple coming up, Caboolture Radio Club's Hamfest, July 11, and Chark Incorporated, the AGM weekend, September 25 to 27 at Fairbairn Dam, where the water is flowing. VK, the Alara Meet 2020 is in Bendigo, October 2 to 5. Wrapping up the year in VK7, the VK7 Biennial Hamfest in November. Now, till next we meet, I'm Graham, VK4 BB. Walk softly.
From Australia, this has been VK1WIA and the weekly WIA amateur radio news service. On RF, we thank our rebroadcast team and you for listening. And remember, internet streaming and text of this news is available 24/7 at wia.org.au.